Hello everybody, it's Kara from Wild Book Garden, and today I'm here with my December and Christmas book haul. So specifically, I'm going to be talking about the bookish gifts that I got like around the holidays from some very kind booktube friends, and I'm also going to throw in the things that I got from my family. I'm going to start with the things that I got from Bookish Friends, but other than that, I am not going to go in any particular order. I'm just going to like pick things up off the stack, and I'm so excited to talk about all these books. So the first one I have here is The Bone Shard Daughter from Andrea Stewart, and this is from my friend Kier from Kier the Scrivener. I have heard really good things about this fantasy series from several of my friends, and it just sounds really interesting. I know that it involves like a really interesting magic system, and it's like very political, and the main character is a girl who at the beginning of the book, she has already lost her memory. And so because of this, the Emperor is not willing to train her as his successor. And it's funny because I have realized that even though I find amnesia plots that happen in the course of a story to be really irritating, I actually find them really interesting when we start off the book with a main character who is trying to get their memory back. I just find that very compelling. So thank you so much, Kier. I am really excited to get to this one. Again, I've just heard really amazing things about it. Then for my friend Julia at Shakespeare and Such, I got a few different things. One of them is part of our annotated book swap that we're doing. And this is The Last Wife by Kate Hennig. This is a play that is, I think, inspired by, let me check so I don't get this wrong. I'm pretty sure this is a retelling of Catherine Parr, like her relationship with Henry VIII, and I know Julia really loves this playwright. I have not read from her, but I've been meaning to, and I'm very excited to have all of Julia's annotations to go along with it, so I can't wait to read that. And she also sent me a different book that was one of my most anticipated releases that I have not read yet, and that is The Last Wind Witch by Jennifer Adam. This is a fantasy novel that I believe involves nature magic. I love this cover, also I think that's beautiful. This is one of those books that like I just have a really good feeling about. I feel like I'm gonna really enjoy it, and it involves like a hedge witch. Like our main character is a young girl who is apprenticed to a hedge witch, and the nature magic and everything just sounds really interesting. So I am so grateful to have this one. I can't wait to get to it. And Julia also included a really beautiful bookmark that has these really pretty like illustrated hydrangeas on them, and it has an Oscar Wilde quote, which is, "With freedom, flowers, books, and the moon, who could not be perfectly happy?" Which I believe is a quotation from his De Profundis letter, which makes it like even more poignant. But yeah, I love Oscar Wilde, obviously. His name is in my channel name, but thank you so much, Julia. I can't wait to get to these. Then my friend Katie at A Sea of Tomes sent me some things. The first one is The Tea Dragon Tapestry by Kay O'Neill. This is the third and I think final volume in the Tea Dragon Society series. I love this series. It's just like so warm and lovely and wholesome, and I love the illustration style. So I'm so glad to have this one, and I'm really looking forward to this as like when I need kind of a little pick-me-up, you know? Which is frequently, so I'm excited to get to that. And then she also gave me a nonfiction book that I have been meaning to read for ages, and that is Just Mercy, A Story of Justice and Redemption by Brian Stevenson. This is a nonfiction book that, again, I've been meaning to read for a very long time. I've heard only incredible things about it. I believe the name of the project... Okay, so the name of the project is the Equal Justice Initiative, and Brian Stevenson is the one who founded that. Yeah, so it's a legal practice dedicated to defending the poor, the wrongly condemned, and those trapped in the furthest reaches of our criminal justice system. One of his first cases was that of Walter McMillian, a young man sentenced to die for a notorious murder he didn't commit. The case drew Stevenson into a tangle of conspiracy, political machination, and legal brinksmanship, and transformed his understanding of mercy and justice forever. I know this book deals with a lot of really heavy things, but I've heard that it's a very like approachable nonfiction. So yeah, again, only heard great things. I'm so grateful to have this, and hopefully want to get to it sometime this year. So thank you, Katie. And then Katie also gave me a candle. I don't know if I've talked about this officially in a video, but I've gotten like really into candles lately as like a way to kind of relax and unwind and force myself to slow down, especially on really stressful days. I have some really stressful things happening with work right now, and it's just, I've noticed it's a good way to make myself take care of myself even on days that I don't have the whole day to dedicate to being relaxed, if that makes sense. So I've gotten really into candles, and Katie gave me one from Sunburst Candle Co. and it's Secret Garden themed. I've been very into bookish candles specifically, and it's a really pretty purple color. I've already burned it, so it's not as pretty looking, but yeah, I really love how this one smells. It's like very floral and like almost like strawberry floral. Yeah, I can't remember what the actual like notes are for what it's scented with, but it's like, it smells really good. So thank you so much, Katie. Then from my friend Olivia Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophe, I got a couple of things. She sent me The Princess Will Save You by Sarah Hennig. This is the or Sarah Henning, excuse me. This is the first book in the Kingdoms of Sand and Sky series, and this is a book that I've been interested in since I heard about it. The premise just sounds really interesting. It's kind of loosely inspired by The Princess Bride, I think. I don't think it's a direct retelling, but it's kind of loosely inspired by that story, except that the main character, the princess, has a lot more like agency, and I love that movie, but it is going to be really exciting, I think, to read a story where she has a more active part in the story. Because like Princess Buttercup, like she does do things and I do like her, but I think this is going to be, I think in this book she's going to be more proactive, so I'm excited for that. I also really like this cover, and yeah, I've just been excited to read this for a while. And she also sent me a graphic novel that I have heard incredible things about, and that is The Magic Fish by Trung Le Nguyen, I think is how you say that. And this is like fairy tale inspired, like Vietnamese fairy tales specifically, and it's about a young boy whose mother tells him these fairy tales, and then later in his life he's using these stories as a way to try and come out to his family. And I've just heard that it's really lovely, and the color palette is also really pretty. It's like a few different like monochrome schemes, but I really like the illustration style. And I've been getting a little bit more into graphic novels. Like I still don't read a lot of them, but I'm getting really good at figuring out which ones I'll enjoy, and this is one that I've been really excited about. So thank you again, Olivia Savannah. Then my friend Vendi from Caught Between Pages sent me Rise of the Jumbies by Tracy Batiste. This is the sequel to, oh, I just forgot the name of the first book. I can't see it. It doesn't say it on the back, but I think it's just called The Jumbies, actually, which was a book I definitely enjoyed, and I've actually heard that the series gets even better. I remember Ashley from Bookish Friends talking specifically about this second book, and like the specific things it deals with related to the slave trade in the US and like in the islands surrounding it, and I just remember her speaking very, very highly of this book. Again, another beautiful cover, and I'm just really excited to continue this series. It's been a while since I read book one, but yeah, looking forward to it. So thank you so much, Vendi. And she also sent me one that, again, I've heard good things about. I guess I can stop saying that. If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy. This is a romance that is a Cinderella retelling. And basically I've heard from a lot of people that this is what one to watch could have been and should have been, because it has a plus size main character. She ends up involved on a reality show, like a reality dating show, and I just have heard really great things. I know that this is also like not a super smutty romance, so that's another reason I think this could really work for me. And yeah, I've just heard like lovely things about this. This is going to be another really good pick-me-up, I think. And one of the things that I am extra excited for is that it doesn't do the like evil stepfamily route, which I think is great. I think we should have more Cinderella retellings that, like, I understand in the original story that that's the case, so it makes sense why it comes up in so many retellings, but apparently the main character actually has a really strong relationship with her step-siblings and her stepmom, and that makes me really happy. And the other thing she sent me is actually a necklace that I'm wearing. I'll insert a couple pictures I took of it, but this is in Gnomish, so Artemis Fowl is obviously one of my favorite series in the world, and Vendi found a necklace that has like a quotation, a really famous quotation from the series, and on one side it says "trust me," and on the other side it says "I'm a genius," which is something that Artemis says. And yeah, I love this so much. When I opened it, I saw like the note, and I was like, this looks like Gnomish because it came with a note in Gnomish, and then I like pull it out, and yeah, I think that is so cool. Thank you so much, Vendi. I love this. I love that you were able to find this. And then my friend Mariana from Mariana Mas Books sent me some bookmarks. So she does like graphic design stuff, and so she made a couple bookmarks for me that are absolutely beautiful, and they have some of my favorite quotations from Amber and Clay by Laura Amy Schlitz, which is one of my favorite books of the year, and we actually buddy read it together this year. I say this year, in 2021, and it is like, they're absolutely stunning. So here is what one of them is. I was actually using this one, so I had to take it out of my book, and on the back it says, "I talk to you still, Mellisto. I've been talking to you ever since." And you can see there's like clay on the front, which is very thematically important for the book, so that one is beautiful. And then she also sent me this one, which is gorgeous. So it's got like kind of like a profile, like a person on the front. There's some like little crystals at the bottom, and then on the back there's like a rain pattern, and it says, "Her ivory skin so lambent she seemed to have no edge. It was as if I gazed at her through tears." Which I think is another really beautiful line and like description. I just love these quotes. I love these bookmarks, and I just love like thinking about the story and like the context for them. And thank you so much, Mariana. And she also sent me a bookmark that she did not make herself, but it is handmade by indigenous Mexican women, and it is really, really beautiful. I love the colors and like the pattern and everything. So I have several new beautiful bookmarks. Thank you so much, Mariana. you're so talented. Like, I love these so much. And then I also got a package from my friend Yvette from Book Cave, and one of the things she sent me is this really, really cool hobbit hole tree ornament that I took off my tree so I could show it, but I think that is the cutest thing. I love it. It looks so cute on my tree. I did not take a picture of it on the tree, which I should have done, but it's beautiful. I love it. And she sent me a book that also kind of matches that ornament a little bit in terms of like the color and the design, which I did not realize. But that is The Beautiful Ones by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. She's an author that both of us really love, and I have not read this book from her. And I remember Yvette saying, when she was talking about this book, she's like, I'm not saying it's Jane Austen plus magic, but I'm not saying that. And that has me very excited. I've said many times that Sylvia Moreno Garcia can win me over even with genres I don't normally like. So the fact that she's writing in a genre I do very much like, very excited. Like, I'm gonna love this. I'm so excited, and I really, really love this new like cover bee design. And then the last thing that Yvette sent me, I'm actually wearing, I think I've actually worn these in a video already, so you might have seen these, but I am obsessed with them. They're beautiful, and they are, like, she custom ordered me earrings that are like the design, like the book design for Bloodwater Paint by Joy McCullough, which is obviously one of my favorite books I've read, and I love these. I love these so much. I will once again insert pictures so you can hopefully see a little bit better. But yeah, she like custom ordered those for me, and I love them. So thank you so much, Yvette, for everything. And then my friend Huck at Badger Reads sent me The Library of Lost Things by Laura Taylor Namey. This is a contemporary novel, contemporary romance, and I believe this is one of the ones where like the main characters get locked in a library, I think. It doesn't say that on the back. I'm pretty sure that's what happens. But I've heard really great things about this author, and I just feel like I'm gonna really enjoy it. I also like this cover design for the paperback. Yeah, I've just heard good things, and this is one that I've been meaning to read for like several years, and you know, always love a bookish main character, and I just feel like I'm gonna really enjoy this, so thank you so much, Huck. And then the other one she sent me is another one I've been very curious about for a while, and that is Green Rider by Kristen Brittain, or Brittain. I really love that this is like the trade paperback as well, like nice and floppy. I love that. And this is the first book in a fantasy series that I have heard really interesting things about, and I've also heard it's one of those series where like the premise of the first book is not at all indicative of what the series reads like as a whole, which is very interesting. But this book does start with our main character coming across a dying messenger who's a green rider. They're like very important messengers in the kingdom, and so he's dying. He gives her message to take to, I think, the king or something. It's a very important message, and she gets kind of swept up into this whole situation. There's a lot of politics. I've heard that the characters and the relationships are really interesting. So thank you so much, Huck. Like I said, I've been like really curious about this one for a long time. I know Huck read this one and she enjoyed it. She said it was like a very cozy fantasy. It wasn't like a new favorite, but I do think she liked it. So I'm excited about this. And then my friend Kelly from Cozy Reader Kelly sent me Skin of the Sea by Natasha Bowen. This is like even more beautiful in person. Like, I love this cover so much. And this is another one of my most anticipated releases for 2021 that I haven't gotten to yet. Yeah, I just can't get over this cover and like the design and everything. Is there anything under the dust jacket? It is an interesting color. So this is a book that has, they're kind of like mermaids, I think, and I think it involves journeying like through life and death kind of thing, which is also interesting. Our main character is one of the Mamiwata, who are essentially, I think, mermaids, and they're supposed to collect the souls of those who die at sea and bless their journey. But then when a living boy is thrown overboard, our main character does the unthinkable. Her name is Simi. She saves his life, going against an ancient decree, and punishment awaits those who dare to defy it. So I think her and this boy end up having to travel to protect the other Mamiwata. Simi must journey to the Supreme Creator to make amends, but all is not as it seems. There's the boy she rescued who knows more than he should, and something is shadowing Simi, something that would rather see her fail. Danger lurks at every turn, and as Simi draws closer, she must brave vengeful gods, treacherous lands, and legendary creatures. Because if she doesn't, then she risks not just the fate of all Mamiwata, but also the world as she knows it. I just think that sounds amazing. Again, love this cover, so thank you so much, Kelly. I'm so glad I have this one now. This is another one I hope to read pretty soon. I mean, like, story of a book blogger's life, right? Is like everything is something I want to read soon. And then from my friend Mary Margaret at MM's Musings, I got For Love and Honor by Jodi Headland. This is actually quite a short book. I don't know why I expected it to be longer. And this is a romance where, like, I don't even remember how I heard about this book, but it's been on my list as one that I wanted to try for quite a while. And Mary Margaret said that she actually read this a couple years ago, and she said it was a really like sweet and engaging one, and I'm really excited for this. I just feel like this is a romance that I'm really going to enjoy, and again, Mary Margaret said she enjoyed it, so that makes me optimistic. We tend to have pretty similar opinions in terms of like characters and love interests, so I'm pretty confident about this one. But yeah, can't wait to get to that as well. And then she also sent me a nonfiction book, Agrippina, the Most Extraordinary Woman of the Roman World by Emma Southon. And this one I am just fascinated by. So it's about Agrippina, a member of the Julio-Claudia dynasty in Rome, and I just really love learning about like complex, interesting historical women. I don't know that much about Agrippina, but I've been excited about learning more about her, so I'm glad that I have this book now that I can do that. So thank you so much, Mary Margaret. And then my friend Hannah from Snow White Reader gave me Gilded by Marissa Meyer, and this is her most recent retelling. It's a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. I've been trying to avoid like reviews and like listening to what people think about it because I just want to go in and experience it for myself. Plus a lot of people hated Heartless and I really enjoyed that one, so I don't necessarily think reviews are going to indicate how I feel about this book anyway. But thank you so much, Hannah. We both enjoy Marissa Meyer. I think she likes Marissa Meyer, and I love that I love the way she does retellings, and I'm really excited that we have another one from her. This was another like most anticipated release from you, so thank you so much, Hannah. So thank you so much to all of my lovely friends who sent me things. That was so generous of you. I feel very like loved and spoiled. So thank you guys so much. I'm also going to run through the bookish things that I got from my family, and I actually got more like books and book adjacent things for my family than I usually do. Generally they don't like to give me that stuff because they know that I have a lot of it and I tend to like know what I want and get it for myself, but this year I got more things, so I have some more things to show you than usual. The first one is The Book of Hope by Jane Goodall and Douglas Abrams with Gail Hudson, a survival guide for trying times. And this is a nonfiction book about, I think pretty much what it sounds like. It's about being hopeful even with the world the way it is, and I really admire Jane Goodall, like many people, and I'm really excited to have her perspective on this topic. Also, I have to show you because this has one of the most gorgeous under dust jacket designs I have ever seen. I just think that is beautiful. I can't get over that. I keep taking off the dust jacket to look at it. But yeah, I'm just really excited about this, and I think this is a book I really need right now. So maybe this is another one that I'll try and prioritize. But I got that. And then this is actually not a present from anybody. This is like, I don't know if anybody else who owns pets does this, but I like got them a present, and really it's just like a book that I want to read that's about cats. That is Rebel Cats, Brave Tales of Feisty Felines by Kimberly Hamilton. I think this is actually only in the UK right now, so it was a little harder to track down. I was able to order it through Blackwell's though, which I'm very grateful for. And it's just like a bunch of profiles on like interesting and brave and wonderful cats like throughout history. And it also is scattered through with like interesting facts about them, or like statistics, or like, you know, debunking misconceptions about cats and stuff like that. So there's some other stuff as well. I do also like the illustration style. I think it's really cute. And one thing that I really love, and I looked at reviews to try and gauge this before I bought it, that for the most part, this book does not like, it's not like a bunch of really depressing stories about cats who did a heroic thing and then died. Because I never understand that in books about like cats or dogs or animals in general or any kind of pet. Like, why, when you are marketing it towards people who love these animals, why would you like emphasize the stories that have terrible things happen to them? Like, you're giving this to a person who would probably be most upset by this, and like that's never made sense to me. Not that we shouldn't like tell those stories at all, but it just seems odd that these books that are geared towards lovers of these animals are so heavily weighted towards the really horrible things that can happen to them. And this does definitely include, from what I can see, a couple of, you know, like sadder ones or things like that, but from the reviews and from what I have flipped through and read so far, it seems like that's not the main focus of this book, which makes me happy. So anyway, just excited to read this book about cats. But you know, it's really for PD, Nala, and Lego. That's who the present was for. But I think they'll let me read it. And then I also got, so I guess that's like kind of a present I gave, but I included it here. And then I also got both gorgeous editions of Midnight in Everwood by M.A. Kuzniar. This one I think is the Waterstones exclusive. It has the sprayed edges. And then Under the Dust Jacket of the other one is really beautiful. This is the Indie Bookstore exclusive one, I think. So yes, I got two I got two special editions of a book I hadn't read yet. You will hear me talk more about it in my December wrap up, which I'm hoping to film right after this. So yeah, I have those. Was it a good purchase? You will wait and see. It wasn't. I'm so sad. It's fine. But I have these beautiful books now, so that's something. Like, I'm normally really, really good at, like, picking new releases that I'm actually gonna enjoy. But when I blow it, I guess I blow it really big. And I had put both special editions on my list of like ideas because my mom asked me like, you know, for some ideas for Christmas. And I had put both special editions there because I was so sure I was gonna love it enough to want both of them. It's fine, you can't win them all. And then I also got Fly with the Arrow by Sarah K. L. Wilson. This is the first book in a fantasy romance series, which I also really love this cover, and under the dust jacket is like the same design, which I think is always cool. Yeah, I like people, like authors who I have really enjoyed Sarah K. L. Wilson, so that makes me really excited. I have like a couple books from her now. One of the ones, like Intisar Kanani really likes her, and I think Susanna Roundtree also really enjoys her, who are both fantasy authors that I have really enjoyed so far. So it's just one of those situations of like, I heard about them from other authors, and then when I started looking at the descriptions of their books, I'm like, ooh, I think I really would like that. So I'm really excited to have that one. Also on the indie fantasy train, I have Tea and Sympathetic Magic by Tansy Rayner Roberts. This is really, really short. Like, this is it even a novella? Like, it's like 65 pages or something. So I guess that's a novella. But yeah, it's really short. This is a historical fantasy, and I already really love the writing style. As you guys can see, I've been super into indie fantasy lately. Like, I've been finding some really excellent ones, so I'm really excited to have this one, and I believe this is the first in a series as well. Then I have a book of poetry that is An American Sunrise, Poems by Joy Harjo, Poet Laureate of the United States. She is a native author. I think she's of the Muskogee people. But yeah, I've heard great things about this poetry collection, and like I flipped through and I kind of sampled a little bit of it, and I think I'm really gonna enjoy her particular style of poetry, so I'm really excited to get to this. I definitely want to make reading poetry, like I want to make that more of a point, because I tend to really like the poetry I pick out. Like I'm good at finding what I like, but I just don't pick it up enough, so I want to do that more. And then I also have The Ghost Bride by Yang Tze Chu. This is a historical book that has a little bit of a fantastical element. Well, it's hard to say that because some of it is actual like cultural practices, so I don't want to call that a fantasy element. But some of the world building sounds like it could include, like, I don't know how the author would categorize this basically. Our main character is a young woman who decides to become a ghost bride. I think this is set in Malaysia when it was like occupied or like run by the Chinese. So our main character is a young woman who decides to become a ghost bride, which is a traditional practice that people don't really do much anymore. But wealthy families will sometimes do it, where they basically, they've lost a family member, and so they hire they pay a young woman to like be the ghost bride of this person who died. In order to, I think, put his spirit to rest. And she does this so that she can have enough money to take care of herself and her family. And then she ends up going on a journey like into the shadowy parallel world of the Chinese afterlife with its ghost cities and vengeful spirits. There, Lilan, who's the main character, must uncover the Lim family's darkest secrets and the truth about her own family before she is trapped in this ghostly world forever. I just think this one sounds really interesting. This is another one I've been wanting to read for a while, and this book also, this stands out in my mind because it was one of the very first books I remember coming across in one of those like booklets you can get from indie bookstores, you know, about like upcoming releases. This was like years and years and years ago when I was not involved in book blogging at all. Like I hadn't discovered BookTube or anything, but for whatever reason, I strongly remember that this is one of the like first ones that I was interested in that I came across that way. So just like fun fact, I guess, but I'm really excited for this. I believe this one is backordered again. It was like backordered for a really long time and then it was temporarily available. So I hurried up and I put it on my Christmas list, and now it's backordered again. So hopefully that clears up soon in case you want to read this one. But yeah, really excited to have that one finally. And then I also have Leaving Lyman by Lisa Klein Ransom. This is the second book in, I think it's just called the Finding Langston series, which is a series of companion novels that are very short and they're set during the Great Migration. I feel like I have the other one behind me somewhere. I can't find it, but that was Finding Langston, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I think I've heard that some people like this one even more. I'm really, really excited to get to this and to continue the series. And then I have a nonfiction book, The Day the World Came to Town, 9/11 in Gander, Newfoundland by Jim DeFeedy. So Come From Away is one of my favorite musicals. I love it. I am so grateful to Hannah and Kier who like introduced me to it, because you guys were correct. I think it's fantastic. And I've been really interested in this nonfiction book since I heard about it, because this nonfiction book talks about the thing that inspired the musical, which is basically after 9/11, when the North American airspace was completely shut down. A lot of planes were diverted to Gander, Newfoundland in Canada, which used to be a big hub for international flights, and then it just wasn't anymore, but they kind of had some of the infrastructure still. And so it was this tiny town of just like, I think a few thousand people that like overnight basically doubled or tripled in size, because they had all these people that they were taking care of. And yeah, I just think this is going to be really fantastic. I know that I love the musical, which is completely based on the true stories. Like all of the characters and all of the information is taken from actual things that happened in actual accounts. So I feel like I already know that I'm going to really like this nonfiction book. Yeah, so really looking forward to getting to this one as well. And then another nonfiction pick, I have Bad Indians, a Tribal Memoir by Deborah A. Miranda. And this is, as you can tell, a memoir by a Native author. And I think it's going to be, this is one I've heard really interesting things about, like the structure of it. I think it includes a little bit of poetry, it includes some primary sources, and then you can kind of, I think, get a feel, because like the inside cover, it says, things you can do with your chart for calculating quantum of Indian blood, which obviously the blood quantum is like a big issue in tribal heritage. And so I think that's indicative of the kind of like tone this book is gonna have. The author is also a California native author, which I live in California, so I'm definitely excited to read something from somebody who is specific to the land that I live on. So that's something I'm also really interested in, and it looks like this one won the Independent Publisher Book Awards for excellence in independent publishing, so that's really cool as well. And then I also have The Chance to Fly by Ali Stroker and Stacey Davidowitz, Tony Award winner Ali Stroker, who is the first Broadway actor in a wheelchair to win a Tony Award. I am so excited for this. This sounds lovely. So our main character is a girl who is like obsessed with musicals, and she like dreams of like becoming a musical theater star one day, and I think she gets cast in, let's see, she wants to get cast in Wicked, and I think it's just about like her like following her dreams, and this just sounds really lovely. Also, one of the reasons I like extra wanted to give attention to this book, I guess, is because when I was looking at reviews, it got overall very good reviews, and there was one person who said they loved everything about it. They gave it 4 stars instead of 5, but they loved everything about it, except how unrealistic it was. They were talking, they had a real issue with people who write middle grade books about kids who want to do things like go into theater instead of like useful occupations for society, like an actuary or something. And I just remember reading that and just being so irritated and like bewildered by that. So that's one thing that like has kept this book at the forefront of my mind, which I guess is a good thing. So I'm really excited to read this, even though it does not involve an actuary. And then finally, the last book I have to show is Mistwood by Leah Cypess. This one was really funny. Like I did not have this on my list of, like several of these books actually, I did not have on my list of ideas for my family. And this one, I like was so astonished that my family had gotten it for me, that my mom was able to order it, because it's pretty much out of print, I think, and it's a very specific book that I had been looking for, but I don't remember ever telling anyone I was looking for, and I was like, how did you know? Like, how did you know I wanted this like very specific book? I think it was like a mix-up of like who was ordering what, so that's how it happened. But either way, I have a nice new copy of a book that I thought was out of print, so this is great. Leah Cypess wrote Thornwood, which I really loved. She also wrote, as I keep saying, the only story I gave 5 stars to, in the Mythic Dream, which was a collection I was very disappointed in, but I'm really grateful it introduced me to her work. And I've heard like mixed things about her other fantasy books, like her other books that she's done, including this one, but I just feel like I'm gonna like them anyway. Like the things that, like the ways I've seen them described make me think that I'm gonna like them anyway. So excited for that. Okay, everybody, so that was my Christmas and December and like general holiday book haul. Thank you so much to anybody who sent things to me. I'm so grateful. And thank you just to all of you guys for like watching and commenting and supporting. Like, I appreciate that more than you know. Like, it really does mean a lot to me. I know that we always say that, and it can probably sound repetitive after a while, but like, I truly mean it. Like, I think everyone who says that truly means it. Like, it really does mean so much. Thank you guys so much for like your comments and your interaction and just like being here and listening to me ramble about books. Like, truly blows my mind that there are people who just will listen to me ramble about books. Amazing. Let me know about a book that you got recently. It doesn't have to be a gift, but it can be, that you're excited for, or a book that you're gonna get from your library, or a book that you're just excited to read at some point. Let me know something you're excited about in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you soon with another video, and I hope you love the next book you read. Bye. Also, just wanted to read the back of the Book of Hope real quick. Probably the question I am asked more often than any other is, do you honestly believe there is hope for our world, for the future of our children and grandchildren? And I am able to answer truthfully, yes. From the Book of Hope, a survival guide for trying times. Like, this book, I can already feel it. It's gonna make me cry, but I think in a good way.